My name is Homer Craig. My name is Homer Craig. I live in Hazelwood. I was born and raised 2 doors down from here. And I've lived in the neighborhood all my life except for when I was in the military. Please, please. Yeah, she thinks she owns the street. Call her, Shots. Go. No, no. Go upstairs. My mother dropped out of school in the 6th grade because her mother became a widow. Even with that lack of education, she was a smart woman. When I was born, I had a library. I had Hawthorne, I had the Song of Hiawatha, I had Edgar Allan Poe, I had all the classics. And my mother read to me. When I went to Gladstone in kindergarten, I was 3 years old and I could read. Because literacy is your way out. My father left home when he was 12 years old. He's a black male, but unless you look at him closer, he could be a Italian Don. He got a junior college education in Prince George's County, Maryland. He worked coal mines on the railroads, and he was one of the first black supervisors at J&L right here in Hazelwood. They were able to buy a couple of houses in the 30s during the Depression through Mr. Hanley, who became Judge Hanley up in Squirrel Hill. In those days, a bank would not give a black man a loan. I was about 14 and I started the Glen Hazel Boys Club. We had a ring at the Lewis Playground. We fought in South Park. We fought at the Market Building on South Side. We fought all over the area, but after a while, nobody in Pittsburgh wanted to fight us. The funny thing is, a friend of mine was boxing. I wasn't into boxing, and his cousin gave him a saxophone that he couldn't blow. I taught him how to blow it. I went up to the boxing gym to watch him. Next thing I knew, I was training with the fighters. He had the saxophone, and he was down here at Hazelwood and 2nd Avenue and got hit by a car and broke both his legs. And so he had plenty of time to practice. He ended up in New York recording with people like Prez Prado. And Reggie Portis, I trained him when he was a kid. In 1964, he won all Army middleweight, and Ursula was pregnant with our youngest. And I was at the fight, and I said, heck, I can beat most of these guys. And she said, you're an old married man, and you haven't been in the ring for 4 years. I was at a GI club and I saw her and I said, hey, and I put my finger in her face like that and said, you're gonna marry me. By the way, what's your name? And she cursed me out. She gave me a phony name and a phony address and a phony phone number, right? And I asked for a date and she gave me a date and time. And on the date and the time, there was a knock on the door and she almost fainted. And she was wondering how I got her real name, how I got her real address, and how I ended up on her doorstep. And my response was, I have ways.
The only thing, he's a jerk.
He's a jerk.
Well, usually I say nerds.
Am I opinionated? Heck yes. I was the most handsome and I was the smartest of all my siblings. Am I wrong? You analyze everything I say and tell me if I'm wrong. I had some fights and I got to meet this young kid before he turned pro. He was a light heavyweight at the time and he was living down in Louisville. At the time his name was Cassius Clay. However, you probably know him as Muhammad Ali. He came to Pittsburgh and he donated some equipment for our gym, heavy bags, gloves, and protectors. And his only stipulation was he didn't want any publicity for it. So I look up to him. He was really a good man.